Khan, Shalom, Shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Recha, Kodash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants of the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth, to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth, and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom, shalom, beloved Akim and Akwath. It's just by on back again through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of our power, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just want to get into a brief live stream, pretty much shedding light, on the current events, pretty much makes sense, of the fate, of evil E in this whole regime, the Edomite regime, that has been reigning, under the guise of terror, for hundreds of years, bro. All right, now we're finally reaching their pivotal moment, where they're pretty much going to get the rug pulled from underneath their feet. All right, through the spirit and power and grace of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. They're going to get the rug pulled from underneath their feet. This is why they're making the decisions they're making via their emperor, all right, Nero 47. All right, Trump. All right, we liken him unto Nero. If you tap into Nero, Nero was the he was the final Roman emperor for the Julio Claudian dynasty. All right, and ultimately, this dude set fire, all right, to Jerusalem and blamed it on Jake. This dude went executing, all right, anybody and everybody that got in his way. All right, he literally, matter of fact, let me get something real quick. When you go into let me get something real quick. When you go, let me see. I typed in on AI overview, right? Nero executed his rivals, right? And it says Roman Emperor Nero notoriously executed numerous political rivals, bro. All right, look, family members and suspected plotters to consolidate power and eliminate threats, bro. Okay, he was a renegade. Look, driven by paranoia and cruelty, his victims included his mother, his stepbrother, his first wife, and his first wife. These ruthless actions, along with the forced suicides of advisors like Seneca the younger, ultimately spurred revolts, right, that led to his downfall, right? And ultimately, it got to a point where he was deemed enemy of the state. All right, he was doing what he wanted to do, moving how he wanted to move. All right, complete renegade, bro. And they're gonna see this is the same behavior your boy Trump got. All right, I got a couple of clips. I got 2 clips I want to share with you, beloved Aki Aminakwa. All right, and listen to how this dude's speaking up on behalf of his rivals, bro. Upon behalf, Salakia, of his allies. All right, check. I got this video, but before we get there, let me get this real quick. Let me get a quick preset. Let's get this real quick. What is that? The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9, and it reads, "The thing that has been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun." And we understand that spirit, after 3 to 4 generations, you come back. All right. And through the spirit, all right, Trump has the spirit of Nero on him, man. All right. It wouldn't be a surprise. Hey, Nero will come back in his lot. All right. And again, I made the mention, right, that Nero, he was the final emperor, right, of that specific Julio-Claudian dynasty. What a coincidence. Babylon the Great don't have much more time left. Based off where we stand in prophecy, this is more than likely your boy Trump is the final president. So that's all cohesive. You know? It all makes sense at the end of the day. You see? Now, let me get this real quick. Let me get this clip. You got to look at it through the spirit, you know? Let me get this real quick. Let me get this first clip. This is fair use, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this video. This is for educational purposes only and for the sake of prophecy. All right, this is from Geopolitical Economy Report. All right, I've been tapping into this, but he be going in. All right, so let's see. It's only a couple of minutes. It's not long. Check it out. Bear with me, Akiam and Aquad. Here we go.
So again, to clarify all this madness that's happening right now, the U.S. and Israel launched an illegal war of aggression against Iran, which continues to escalate. Iran has hit multiple countries in the region, targeting U.S. military bases, which are in basically every other country in the region. Israel has invaded Lebanon and is blockading Gaza yet again. The CIA is working with Kurdish groups in Iraq to invade Iran from Iraq, which could potentially draw Turkey into an even bigger regional war. And the U.S. military is shooting protesters in Pakistan, and the U.S. military started another war in Ecuador. And in January, Trump invaded Venezuela and kidnapped Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro. And Trump is now trying to suffocate Cuba with a naval blockade of Cuba. And this is all being done by a guy who calls himself the peace president. Again, Trump campaigned promising that he would end U.S. wars and he would be a peacemaker.
Bear with me. Now, I just want to say something real quick. Look, Esau's all over the place, bro. Oh, when you see the list he just went down regarding what Esau's involved in, and he took his ass over and he started another conflict while this is going on over there in Western Asia. All right, the same thing Rome did. They're running their military thing. The same thing Rome did. Okay, because this is Rome all over again, bro. Okay, that head that was wounded to death. But Dead Hill. You see, Rome, bro, is on the scene. You see, and in the form of the revival of the Western Roman Empire, Babylon the Great. That's why they're coming in the same spirit. They're doing the same shit they were doing. Bear with me. As a matter of fact, I want to play that video. The spirit just wants me. Let me see something real quick. Check this out. So real quick, I typed in, did Roman military weaken with conflict? It says this. Yes, the Roman military significantly weakened over time due to prolonged, constant conflict. all right, which drained manpower, reduced morals, and damaged discipline. And in this case, they're running out of resources. As we know, the stockpile for Babylon is running low. All right, Babylon ain't got it like that. All right, they got a blank check, like the brother Ayashima said, but got in their military. You know, they got infinite resources for the military, is for sure, as far as the investing in the military. But as far as their stockpile, you know, they ain't got it like that, bro. All right. As a matter of fact, based on what's going on over there with Iran right now, they're running low. You know, not realizing, not being aware of the reality of Iran being able to take the brunt force of the attack. They didn't calculate that Iran was going to be able to go the distance with them. You know, it's like boxing, man. You know, in a professional fight, what? There's 12 rounds. When you're in the pro league, you got 12 rounds, bro. Okay, I don't know if you've ever boxed before or done anything regarding the endurance, but after 2 rounds, after the first round, you're like, yo, wait a minute. You know, 2-3 rounds, man. Hey, there's a lot. Come on, man. 2-3 rounds amateur, but 3 rounds is like amateur, but damn, that'll get you. You know, how imagine that times 4. You see? Yup. They didn't expect Iran to be able to go 12 rounds with them, man. They thought it was gonna be a one hit knockout. One, you know what I mean? One punch wonder. Nah. Iran's able to go through the long haul, bro. Their endurance is up. They got their endurance up. But anyways, check it out. Speaking of ancient Rome, right? Frequent civil wars during the 3rd century crisis, along with relentless external pressure from Germanic tribes, forced the army to rely on barbarian mercenaries, reducing its effectiveness, man. And what you're about to find out in this video I got is that Trump is actually arming Turks through the CIA to help invade Iran. This is happening, man. Exactly what, man, this is crazy, man. This is heavy. This is the spirit. This is prophecy, man. Let me read this one more time. We're going to play the video. Look. Along with relentless external pressure from Germanic tribes, forced the army to rely on barbarian mercenaries, reducing its effectiveness. Watch this. Let's go back to the video. It's going to get to that point. I'm going to let it play to that point. But he's going to speak on this nigga lying, you know, during his campaign, which we know. Let's go.
The peace president.
Let's go. Boom. Boom. Let's go.
Trump is now trying to suffocate Cuba with a naval blockade of Cuba. And this is all being done by a guy who calls himself the peace president. Again, Trump campaigned promising that he would end U.S. wars and he would be a peacemaker.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
Just a few weeks ago, Trump launched an organization that he calls the Board of Peace, which in reality was an attempt by the U.S. to replace the United Nations with a privatized pro-war organization that only the U.S. can control. But all this is totally crazy and Orwellian. Trump now has the world record for bombing more countries than any other U.S. president. And I'm not trying to absolve other U.S. presidents. All presidents in the modern history of the U.S. have been war criminals who have carried out illegal wars of aggression abroad. If you look at the past 4 presidents in the past 25 years, since 2001, that's George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Trump, and Joe Biden. Together, these presidents have waged war on 10 countries. Trump is the only one who has attacked all 10 countries when you combine his first and second terms. In 2025 alone, the first year of his presidency, Trump bombed 7 countries, and now we can also add Ecuador. So Trump has attacked 11 countries in his 2 terms as president, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia, Libya, Syria, Venezuela, Nigeria, Iran, and now Ecuador. And he has 3 more years. So who knows how many more countries he's going to attack in the next few years. And by the way, while all this is happening, Trump is also threatening to attack longtime U.S. allies, including Spain, a member of the European Union, because Spain has really been a thorn in the side of the U.S. empire in the past few years. Spain currently has a left-wing government led by the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, and the left-wing government of Spain has been the only country in the EU that has been openly opposing Trump's illegal war of aggression against Iran. Trump has been demanding that countries in Europe let the US military use their bases in order to attack Iran. And the UK is allowing the US to use its military bases. However, Spain is not. The Spanish government has told the US that it cannot use Spanish military bases in order to launch strikes on Iran. And the Spanish government has condemned this war, saying that it's illegal and violates international law, which is objectively true, by the way. So you know what Trump's response has been? He's now threatening to attack Spain. Listen to the following remarks in the White House when Trump was holding a press briefing with the leader of Germany sitting right next to him, another member of the EU. And by the way, I'll talk about Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who's a right-wing US puppet. He totally went along with this, and he also threatened Spain. But listen to these comments here, where Trump threatens to, one, impose an embargo on Spain to cut off all trade between Spain and the US as a form of economic warfare to force Spain to allow the US to use its military bases to attack Iran. That was the first part of Trump's threat. But then secondly, he also says that the US can simply invade Spain, attack Spain, and forcibly take over its military bases in order to attack Iran. This is an absolutely crazy comment made by the US president in the White House, sitting next to the German leader, threatening so-called ally Spain, a fellow EU member. Listen to these crazy remarks.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it. Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it. But we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him, we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people. But they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
Note how Trump there was...
Now, real quick, you heard your boy? Your boy said, we want to fly into Spain. We'll fly into Spain and use their bases. No one's going to stop us from using their bases if we want to, bro. All right, this is the stance that this dude came with. All right? Showing you that Babylon's in the spirit of complete renegade. Now, there's something I want to grab you real quick. Bear with me. It could be in the beginning of this video. You know what? It is, if I'm not mistaken. Bear with me, Aki. I'm in Aqua. Let me get this for you real quick. There, I found it. The Wadi Yahabashim Yao Shai. So check this out real quick. All right, going back to what happened with during the time of Nero during the time of Nero, when they had to when they armed the barbarians. Check this out. Let me go get this real quick. Let me read that for you again. Right here. Right. Let me read this for you again. Right. In the AI overview, right, I had typed in the Roman military weakened with conflict. I'm going to read this again. It says, yes, the Roman military significantly weakened over time due to prolonged constant conflict, which we see Babylon the Great currently in. All right. And now they just reached out to Ecuador and now they're starting the conflict over there. All right. Check this out. Which drained manpower, reduced morale, and damaged discipline. And we obviously know that Esau is running out of his stockpile. But listen to this. Frequent civil wars during the 3rd century crisis, along with relentless external pressure from Germanic tribes, forced the army to rely on barbarian mercenaries, all right, reducing its effectiveness, man. Okay, so when you got to start using outside sources, this is a token that your military is waning. You're waning. And check this out. All right, this is happening right now, and it's time. Okay, with Babylon the Great, the revival of the Western Roman Empire. Check this out.
United Arab Emirates and Yemen. And yet, at the same time, the U.S. State Department is not actually providing any support for Americans who are trying to flee these countries. It's a situation of extreme chaos. But instead of trying to stabilize the situation, you know what Donald Trump is doing? He's threatening to pour fuel on the fire, and now the U.S. government is making plans to arm Kurdish groups, fighters, not only in Iran, but also in Iraq, to wage a war on the ground instead of sending U.S. troops. CNN reported that the CIA is working to arm Kurdish forces to spark an uprising in Iran. And according to CNN,
you see that
strategy.
You see that? Hey, what is then is now. You see? What is then is now. They're making the same mistakes, all right, that they were making back then. Same exact mistakes, bro. All right, and what we're witnessing is a replica of the fallen Western Roman Empire, bro. They're going in that same path. Too proud to see that they're through. They're not hearkening. They're not, and that's the spirit you heard. They're not hearkening to the nigga stop. You know what I mean? You got his counsel on him like, yo, nigga, stop. That makes him. That's making them push even harder. You know? Because ultimately, what? Evil E's losing it, man. All right, let me go get this precept real quick. I got another clip I want to share with you, beloved Akim and Akwa. The wisdom is gone. Okay? This is the Good News Bible. All right? GNB. All right, Jeremiah 49 and verse 7. And it reads this. The heading reads this. The Lord's judgment on Edom. All right? Because what we got to understand, everything that we see happening and culminating is going to result in the judgment, all right, of evil E. This is all roads lead to the judgment of Esau. You see? This is why he's making these fatal mistakes once again. But this is his last time to make these fatal mistakes. He's done after this. Check this out. Jeremiah 49 and 7 in the Good News Bible. This is what the Lord Yahweh Almighty said about Edom. Have the people of Edom lost their good judgment? Can their advisors no longer tell them what to do? Has all their wisdom disappeared? All right, and again, this is the Lord being facetious, as we know, regarding the reality of the Lord's taking the wisdom from this guy. Okay? The Lord slowly but surely stripping the scepter out of Esau's hands, man. All right, and we know it starts with the global elite. As much as they set up these puppets, we're bringing out certain information via ground level, you know, but this stems from the top. All right, because Trump is just a puppet leader. That's all he is, along with the rest of them. You see? But this theater we're watching, it starts from the top. they're taking orders, bro. All right, that's why it went from this nigga pushing peace to now he's waging war. All right, because he's taking orders, man. All right, this is why it went from Department of Defense to Department of War. All right, this is what it is, bro. This is the time we're in. And again, they're taking orders from the elite, point blank, period. Now, real quick, right? And this is why we're seeing Trump making these wayward decisions because it's starting from the top. All right, it's starting from the top. It's actually the elite. The Lord stripping the wisdom from the elite. All right, and we're seeing it displayed throughout their tentacles. All right, that they try to control the earth with. Right, including these presidents, these kings of the earth, media, celebrity machine, you name it. We're seeing foolishness being displayed. All right. Now, real quick, check this out. Yeah, man, Esau's finished, bro. He's done. And all you stupid niggas still joined unto him and still trusting him and still thinking he gonna somehow bounce back. All right. You're gonna be thrust through right along with him. Now check this out. This is from Elizabeth Warren, real quick. This came across my feed last night. I said, Kala Yahabashim outside when I seen this. This is what triggered the lesson, really. But check this out. This is fair use, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this clip. All right, this is for educational purposes only and for edification for the sake of prophecy. All right, this is from Hook Global. All right, this is old girl Elizabeth Warren. Right, looking just as through. But listen to what she got to say, though. Check it out.
Donald Trump is taking the United States into war on his own with no authorization from Congress. He is willing to sacrifice American lives for what? For regime change? For a war that the president's own top military advisor has warned will be incredibly dangerous? For a war built on lies? For a war that won't make us safer? I want to be clear. The United States had a deal that could have prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That was Obama's nuclear deal with Iran, and Trump blew that deal up and got nothing in return. And now he's starting another war in the Middle East instead of doing the hard work of diplomacy to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. It is reckless and it is dangerous. It is a betrayal of the president's duty to uphold the Constitution and a betrayal of the American people. Your tax dollars are being used to bomb Iran while Donald Trump ignores the struggles of working people who can't afford health care and are struggling to pay for groceries here at home. That is not America first. All three of my brothers served in the military, so this is personal for me. I'm thinking of and praying for our troops that the president has put in harm's way without justification. We cannot let Donald Trump drag yet another generation into a forever war. The Senate must come back in session immediately to vote up or down on a war powers resolution and block this war. No war with Iran.
Nero 47 don't give a damn about none of that. All right. He's being used. All right. Trump is being used to take this place out. All right. Ultimately. All right. There's been more drama and more division since Trump's been in office his 2 terms than any other president, man. All right. This is why the beloved elder apostle, through the Spirit, like the Spirit gave it to him. And we've done it many times as far as marrying the reality of this dude being Nero, man. It makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. It adds up. And ultimately, you get it ready. The persecution is coming. Because they are going to set their sights on the church, just like Nero did. Again, when he set fire, right, to Judea and blamed it on Jake. Was it Judea? Province in Rome. I can't say. Correct me if I'm wrong. But needless to say, it was definitely a province in Rome. He blamed it on Jay because the gospel that was going out that the Lord was going to bring fire and all this, X, Y, and Z. Same thing we bring out. All right, and we already know Trump knows who we be because he had made the mention. What? The prophets of doom say the world's going to end via war in the Middle East, right? Western Asia. He's made this mention. So they know what's up. They've been listening to the doc. They've heard the report. All right? The king of Babylon has heard the report, and his hands are waxing feeble. But check this out. We'll close out with this through the Spirit. Let's go here. I'm gonna stay in the G and B. Let's go to the book of let's get it in Mark. Mark the 3rd chapter. Yahweh Shai speaking red letter. All right. Let me see here. Bear with me. It went to Luke. I clicked Luke by accident. Forgive me. Mark. The 3rd chapter. Let me see here. And I'm going to start at verse 23. It reads this. So Yahweh Shai called them to him and spoke to them in a parable. Right? In parables, excuse me. Right? How can Satan drive out Satan? All right. And we know Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, comes after the workings of Satan, pursuing the 2nd Thessalonians. Right? The 2nd chapter. All right. So, and you see clearly that there's a division amongst these damn Satanists, man. Esau. All right. Their own tongues are falling upon themselves. You have old girl Elizabeth Warren speaking her stance towards Trump. And a lot of these Edomites have hey, MAGA. Look what's going on with that. The deterioration of MAGA. Because again, they feel betrayed. All right. Trump is in position to take this place out. Look, right? If a country divides itself into groups which fight each other, what country, that country will fall apart, right? Civil unrest, which is coming. And again, we see it look at the dissension of MAGA, bro. All right, you got the blue, you got the blues and the reds. You know, these self-absorbed Babylonians are looking at Republican Babylonians are looking at Democrats some type of way, and then you got the self-absorbed proud Democrats looking at the Republicans some type of way. You know, you got all these little other factions that are set up by Esau. You know what I mean? Crisis actors, man. And then you got Trump, which is stirring up the pot. You know, look, if a family divides itself into groups which fight each other, that family will fall apart. The Edomite family, the Edomite household, all right, it's completely divided. We got to remember the Russians are Edomites, bro. And the Russians are going to be used to descend upon these Western Edomites, right? There's no cohesiveness with the Western bloc and the Eastern bloc in the form of the Russians, man. All right? Look it. So if Satan's kingdom divides into groups, it cannot last, but will fall apart. It will fall apart, Yahweh Shai said, right? But will fall apart and come to an end, bro. And all we got to do is wait patiently for that moment. But we're seeing the culmination of events take place that's leading to that. We see it. All right? There's no way, all right, this place is going to bounce back, bro. All right? Economically, all right? Infrastructurally, morally, all right? This place is completely through. All right? And we're in the time where, hey, Yahweh Shai is making it clear. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is making it clear that he's gunning for this place, man. He's gunning for it, bro. Oh, and there's also some information that the those Iranians, bro, they're gun ho on striking the homeland. Okay, so there's a narrative being set up with Esau with that. So there's something's gonna go down. On Babylon soil. So stay out of the way, beloved Akim and Akwab. This is the time to really lock in. Passover is right around the corner. All right, it's under a month away, and we're in the time where, hey, we're closer to salvation than ever before. We're closer to salvation than ever before. We are at the end. If you can't see that, we don't know what to say to you if you can't see it, but it's clear that we there. You know, and this might, this whole situation that's going on over there, it might slow down, it might, dumb down a little bit, but you better believe the momentum is there. The momentum is already there for the third world's woe. There's no coming back from the relationships that were slandered, and the resources that were stolen, and the lives that were lost, bro. All right, hey, we here, bro. So stay prayed up, beloved Aki Amanakwa, fast as well as pray. Hey, Lord willing, you were edified, Abaratazah. You were spiritually fed through the spirit, power, mercy, and grace of our power, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai. And Lord willing, you were informed. All right, hey, keep the faith. You already know, hey, keep your eyes to the sky, man. All right, a lot's happening. Moving the spirit. Esau's going to be throwing a lot of smoke screen out there, But at the end of the day, we got to stand on the foundation of prophecy, man, which is Yahweh Shai. And we will not be deceived, man. We will not be confounded. You see, so yeah, man, I'm going to leave it right there. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I lent this 144% truth. Hey, Lord, one of you, beloved Aki Aminakwath, will edify till next time. Beloved Aki